textbook, no? So Matrix Analysis of Structures by Robert E. Sennett. So ako sana siyang i-download sa Canvas. Okay. So in here, mo ni ang mga contents niya, no? So mo sa ni ang atong murag topics, no, sa atong discussions, no? So analysis of one-dimensional bars, two-dimensional trusses or 2D trusses. Naman mo tanan, no, sa kadtong theory of structures or
Yes,
or umana mo tanan. Is it I think it must be a prerequisite, no, before you can take up the subject, no? So dapat umana ka sa theory of structures. So you're familiar, no, with the kaning mga analysis of two-dimensional trusses, di ba? Two-dimensional beams and also frames, analysis of grids, three-dimensional trusses, then the three-dimensional frame. So basically, at least, no, mabuta na rin, no, three-dimensional frames. So if we still have time, then we have to discuss this additional two topics, no? So chapter 7 and chapter 8. Okay, so basically we have at least 6 chapters, no, as part of our scope for this subject. So sa atong theory of structures, I'm pretty sure, no, we're all familiar with how to analyze the 2D truss, no, and how to analyze a beam, for example, a 2D frame, a grid, no. So ang nato lang diri is instead of this conventional system, so conventional method, no. So like for example, two-dimensional truss, for example, no. So you can analyze that using the katong method of sections, no. Okay, so just an example, no. So for the two-dimensional beams, if it is indeterminate, so you can use like mga moment two-dimensional beams like the kanang mga virtual work method, no. So mga unsa pa gani ito ilain nga mga method na to for that indeterminate beams. Can you name
slope deflection, sir.
Double integration method. So what else?
Method of consistent deformation.
Deformation method. What else?
Moment distribution method, sir.
The moment distribution method can also be used to analyze a two-dimensional frame, right? So what else?
Area moment method,
Area
sir.
moment method, three-moment equation, right?
Yes, sir.
Those are for indeterminate beams, no? And also for frames. Of course, if we say determinate beams, for example, no, so we can easily analyze that by simply using the equilibrium equations. Okay, so kung indeterminate naman good, so we need additional equations, no? So compatibility equations, yeah, no? So mga na nang magamit na tatong mga methods. Okay, so in here sa atong subject, instead of using those methods, so we will be using matrices. Okay.
Sir,
So,
excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Napa daw other people sa waiting room, sir.
Okay. Asa na
Thank you,
nato?
sir. Kanang admit, sir.
Asa na nato makitan? Ha?
Wala nakasulat na admit all, sir, sa Zoom na button.
Stop share sa siguro ko. Brag na to gani ha. Ako sa stop ha. Wala. Admit all, no?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, okay na, no? So going back to our discussions, no? So again, instead of using those methods, no, which we have learned in our theory of structures, so mugamit na ta og matrices. So I would like you to review your matrix algebra. So nakagi naman mo na how to kanang operate matrices, no? The different matrix operations. Or maybe karon atong i-discuss lang siguro, no? A review of the matrix algebra, no? So at least ma-refresh lang tayo. Okay. So let me stop my screen. So ngita sa kuog kuan ha atong lecture taron. Hello. Sige, so pag-discuss na ta karon ha. So let's discuss kani siya no review of our matrix algebra. So makita ra ninyo ang screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay ra?
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, sir. Dili
Yes.
record ang meeting.
Oo, asa man i-record ang atong meeting?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Asa ni siya i-record na to? Asa nga kuan? This one, yeah.
Recording in progress.
Sige, so okay na, naka-record na no, di ba?
Thank you, sir.
Sige, thank you. So let's try to review our matrix algebra before we discuss the kuan gyud katong topics regarding matrix analysis of structures. So let's start with the definition of a matrix. So a matrix is defined as a rectangular array of quantities arranged in rows and columns. Okay. By the way, so before we kaning discuss this one ba, so do you have any kanang concerns or anything that you would like to take up first before we discuss these things? So just feel free to raise them, just in case you have. Regarding your grades, by the way, the grading system, so we'll just discuss this next meeting once ma-finalize na nako ang course syllabus. Okay? So, ang atong meeting is Wednesday and Friday. Okay? So, pero I believe nga kuan man, murag tagaan man sad mo og kanang time to solve the assignments. So nga to lang siguro, regular na to is still have to decide whether if every Wednesday siya or every Friday. Okay, so we'll just decide that next week. Okay, so mag-send lang ko og kuan, just make your yourself available during those time or periods. So mag-send lang ko og link sa Canvas. Okay, so if in case mag-meeting ka. Okay, so let's go back to our discussions. So again, when we say a matrix, this is defined as a rectangular array of quantities arranged in rows and columns. So a matrix with m rows and n columns can be expressed as follows. So mo ni ang atong matrix A, where we have this symbol. So we have the bracket. So this is matrix A. Okay. So we have this size of the matrix. Okay. So m rows and n columns. Okay. So mo ni ang mga rows na to, Okay. Yan mo ni ang atong mga columns. Okay, so this one is the element, okay, of this matrix A at ith row and jth column, So jth column, ith row. Okay, so for example, I have this matrix, this one, 2, -3, 1, 5. So what is the size of this matrix? It's simply 2 by 2. Okay. So this one is the element on the first row, first column. This one is the element on the second row, first column. While this one, what is the element? What is one? This is the element on the second row and first column. Okay. So another example, So let's say we have 3, 2, say 0, -1, 5, 4, 6, 7, -9. Sorry. So let's just delete this. So what is the size of this matrix? Okay, you start with the number of rows. How many number of rows are there? It's 1, 2. So it's 2 rows and 3 columns, no? So the size of this matrix is 2 by 3. Okay. So this element 2
Sir,
is,
excuse me, sir.
yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt, sir. There's a chat, sir, nga na pa daw mga tao sa waiting room, sir.
Meeting room is that, no?
Yes, sir.
Siguro ma-interrupt man gud ta, no? So di na lang siguro to mo accept og mga what's that? Mga
Excuse me, sir.
yes.
I have a suggestion, sir.
Yes.
If possible, one may be a co-host for the meeting. Aron siya na mo admit sa
Yes, pwede, no? Mag-assign ko og co-host.
Yes, sir.
Sige, so unsaon man ikaw lang ako i-assign.
My connection's not stable, yes, sir. Pero we would like to recommend Hezron on that, sir.
Kinsa? Hezron. Sige, so Hezron. Make unsa man siya? Make host or wala may co-host na rin? Sige, so let's continue ha.
Sir.
Okay na si Hezron?
Yes, sir.
So ikaw na
I can
i-host
view them
ron?
nasa waiting room.
Ha?
I think co-host, sir. Co-host,
Okay na,
sir.
okay na? Ha?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sige, so can we continue now?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. Okay, now let's proceed. No, so now let's go to the different types of matrices. No, so a column matrix, or sometimes termed as a vector matrix. So if all elements, how to delete this one? Okay, so if all elements are arranged in a single column, so like this one, okay, so then this matrix is said to be a column matrix, or again, as mentioned a while ago, also commonly termed as a vector matrix. No? So we can have this symbol, okay? So this is a column matrix. No? So another type of matrix is a row matrix. So this time, if all the elements are arranged in a single row, so like this one, okay, so the number of rows is just equal to 1, so then it is said to be a row matrix. Okay, so what's the size of this matrix? It is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 1 by 5, no? Okay. So meaning 1 row and 5 columns. How about this? This is a 5 rows mo siya and 1 column. So the size of this matrix is 5 by 1. Okay. Now another type of matrix is square matrix. Okay, so when you say square matrix, that means the number of rows is equal to the number of columns. Okay, take note, the number of rows is equal to the number of columns. So a 2 by 2 matrix is a square matrix, a 3 by 3 matrix, and a 4 by 4 matrix. These are examples of square matrices. Okay, so this is now the main diagonal. What's the size of this matrix, by the way? It's 4 by 4. No? So if it's a square matrix, we have this main diagonal. Okay. Okay, so another type of matrix is a symmetric matrix. So the elements of a square matrix are symmetric about its main diagonal. No? So now, kaning symmetric matrix, one is, this is a murag special type of a square matrix. No? So square gina siya, niya ang elements, okay, about its main diagonal are symmetric. Okay, so mo na iyang main diagonal, di ba? So mo na iyang elements, no? Okay, outside of the main diagonal. Yeah, if you notice, kani siya ug kani symmetrical, no? Okay, so 15, 24, 14, no? 0, 11. Okay, so again, it's a special case of a square matrix, kaning symmetric matrix. The elements about its main diagonal are symmetric. Okay? Okay, alright. Next, another type of matrix, the lower triangular matrix. Okay? So again, this is a special case of a square matrix in which above its main diagonal are all zeros. No? So this one is the main diagonal. So all elements above the main diagonal are all zeros. So it's a lower triangular matrix. Okay. Then we have the upper triangular matrix. This time, the elements below its main diagonal are all zeros. So, kani. Okay, so this one is a main diagonal. This one again is another type of a square matrix. Then we have the diagonal matrix. Again, a special case of a square matrix in which all elements, okay, except the main diagonal are zeros. Okay, so all elements except the main diagonal. This one is the main diagonal. Okay, all other elements are all zeros. So it's a diagonal matrix. Then we have this unit matrix, or another term of this is the identity matrix. Again, a special case of a square matrix in which all elements are zeros except the main diagonal, but the main diagonal are all ones. So, okay, so ang main diagonal puro siya 1. Okay, the rest of the elements are zeros. No? So unit matrix na siya, no? Or identity matrix. So mura ni siya og equivalent to 1. No? Okay. Then another type of matrix, the null matrix. So null matrix, mo po ni ang gitawag na to 0. No? So all elements are zeros. Okay, so katong unit matrix kaniya 1 to siya. No? Ang null matrix 0 po na siya. No? So all the elements are zeros. Okay, so those are the different types of matrices. No? So kindly take note or kindly remember, no? Those the different types. Okay. Now let's proceed to the different matrix operations. No? So how many matrix operations are there? What do you think? maybe maybe I have to revise that question. No? How many arithmetic operations? Let's go back to the very basic. No, so how many? Go on. Arithmetic operations are there. Addition, di ba? Addition, subtraction, what else? Multiplication and division. No? So there are four. No? So arithmetic equations. How about algebraic operations? Algebra. How many algebraic operations? By the way, no, so murag maputol ni karon siya kay less than 1 minute man, mubalik lang ta og sulod, no? So the same na gyapon siya, the same what's that? The same link. Murag less than a minute, murag 40 minutes naman siguro ni, no? No? So our presentation. So is discuss about the different matrix operations, no? So sa arithmetic operations, there are four, no? So addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. No? So for algebraic operations, there are also four, no? But, sometimes argue sila nga three lang, no? So walay subtraction, just algebraic addition. Okay, mingon kag, for example, -3, no? Or let's say 2 minus x, for example, no? So x, let's say minus y, no? So x plus minus y, no? That's the same as x minus y, no? So it's only algebraic addition. Okay, so no subtraction. But of course, you still have algebraic multiplication and division. No? So hindi lang na sa inyong argument, no? You can say it's 4 or 3. No? Now for matrix operations, there are 4. No? So there are 4 matrix operations. No? So matrix addition, matrix subtraction, then we also have matrix multiplication, and the other one, instead of division, it's now inversion. No? So matrix inversion. So let's discuss this one by one. So let's start with this item, equality. So matrix A and B are considered to be equal if they are of the same order, okay, or the same size, and if their corresponding elements are identical. So for example, this is our matrix A, no, and these are the elements under matrix A, no, and this is our matrix B, and we have these elements under matrix B. So if you notice, their size or their order are.
Excuse me again, sir.
Yes.
Marag
Yes.
wala na po naka-record ang meeting, sir.
Sorry. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Bumayan lang ko kanunay, ha. Oh. Please ask the host to give you permission to record. So, Ezron, ikaw may record
Yes.
mo, no?
Sige, sir.
So ikaw na may host, no?
Recording in progress.
Okay, so balik ta, ha? So two matrices are said to be equal if they are of the same size and if their elements are also identical, no? So money, ha? So matrix A and matrix B are equal, no? Kay pareha sila o elements, no? Ano sang iyang size po. Okay, so addition and subtraction matrices, no? So matrices can be added or subtracted only if they are of the same order. So that means pareho sila o size, ha? Okay, so you cannot add, no, a 2 by 2 matrix to a 3 by 3 matrix. Why? Because simply they are not of the same size or not of the same order. Okay, so you can only add a 3 by 3 matrix to a 3 by 3 matrix. Okay, you can only add a 2 by 3 matrix to a 2 by 3 matrix. So dapat pareho sila o size. The addition or subtraction of two matrices A and B is carried out by simply adding, or if it's subtraction, so you subtract the corresponding elements of the two matrices. Okay? You just add the elements of the two matrices. The matrices C and D have the same order as matrices A and B. Okay, so ang kaning resulting matrices, C and D. So for example, this one, if you add the two matrices A and B, let's say ang result niya is matrix C. Ang result, ang size of matrix C must also be the same with the sizes of your A and B. So if this is a 2 by 2 matrix, B must also be a 2 by 2 matrix, so you can perform addition. Okay? So the size of the resulting matrix must also be of the same size of this matrix A and B. So this must also be a 2 by 2 matrix. Did you follow? Ooh.
Yes,
So
sir.
if this is a 3 by 3 matrix, this must also be a 3 by 3 matrix, so you can perform addition or subtraction. The size must also be, the resulting size must also be a 3 by 3 matrix. Okay. Can I excuse for kanang maybe let's have a break for 5 minutes so I have an important one na ako'y importanteng tawagan so break so toilet one break for 5 minutes. Let's continue. Okay ra, madungog ko.
Madungog
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, so ari na ta sa matrix operations so I think na discuss na ni nato siyang slide so for the addition and subtraction. Again, the point here is you can only add or subtract two matrices if they are of the same order or the same size. Okay? So meaning a 2 by 2 matrix can only be added or subtracted to a 2 by 2 matrix or a 3 by 3 matrix. Okay, so you can perform addition if the other matrix is a 3 by 3 matrix also. Okay, and the size of the resulting matrix must also be the same, okay, of the sizes of the other two matrices. Okay, with ngayon mong i-add or i-subtract. Okay. So let's have here an example, So calculate the matrices, So C, which is equal to A plus B, okay? So if you add these two matrices, okay, so the resulting matrix is matrix C. Or if you subtract these two matrices, the resulting matrix is matrix D, So these are the elements of your matrix A and B. So matrix A is, what's the size of this matrix A? It's 3 by 2, 3 rows and 2 columns, okay? So the size of matrix B is also 3 by 2, right? 3 rows and 2 columns, all right? So can we add these two matrices or can we subtract these two matrices? Well, the answer is yes. Why? Because they are of the same size, okay? Or the same order, 3 by 2, 3 by 2, Okay, so let's add, Let's add first, matrix A plus B. So ang resulting matrix is the matrix C, So ang atong buhaton, we simply add, the elements, So for example, the element of the first row, first column, you simply add that to the element of the first row and first column of the second matrix. And that will be the element, the resulting element of the first row and first column of the resulting matrix. So it's simply 6 plus 2, the result is 8. 0 plus 3, the result is 3. Minus 2 plus 7, it's simply 5. 9 plus 5, it's 14. 5 plus minus 12, it's minus 7. And 1 plus minus 1, it is equal to 0. So this is now the resulting matrix. Ang size niya, pareho ra gyapon ani, no? Okay, so I think dili problema, no, kaning addition and subtraction of two matrices. Okay, so let's perform, no, the subtraction of these two matrices, no. So suppose we perform, no, this matrix A minus matrix B. So it's the subtraction of these two matrices, no. So we simply perform subtraction also, no, of the corresponding elements, no. So it's simply 6 minus 2, it's 4. 0 minus 3, it's minus 3. Minus 2 minus 7, that's minus 9. 9 minus 5, it's 4. 5 minus minus 12, it's 17. And 1 minus minus 1, that's equal to 2. Okay, so that's for the subtraction of two matrices. So again, I think, I believe wala tayo problema, no, about this matrix operation. Now let's proceed to the matrix multiplication. No? Let's start with multiplication by a scalar or a constant, no? Value, no? A scalar value. So the product of a scalar or constant, no, value C and a matrix A. So constant siya, value, no? Now you multiply that matrix A is obtained by simply multiplying each element of the matrix A by the scalar value C or the constant C. No? Thus, if we have this constant C times matrix A and the result is B, you simply multiply the elements, no, okay, of this matrix B by the constant, no, C. No? So anyway, let's perform that in this example. No? So suppose we have this matrix A and the size of matrix A is 3 by 3, okay? And the scalar value or the constant is minus 6. And we are required to multiply this one, no? Constant C, which is negative 6 by this matrix A. So again, all we have to do is to distribute this constant to every element of your matrix A. So the resulting matrix will now become minus 6 times 3, minus 18, minus 6 times 7, that's minus 42, minus 6 times negative 2, that's positive 12, no? And you continue. And we have this resulting matrix. Okay, so basically all you have to do is, if it is a constant that you're going to multiply from a matrix, you simply distribute the constant to each element. Okay, and you perform multiplication. So again, I don't think there's a problem, no? Okay, in performing that one operation. Okay, now suppose we have two matrices and you're going to perform multiplication of these two matrices. So medyo complex na ni gamay, no? Okay. So nana po tayo rules ano, no? So medyo, as mentioned a while ago, it's a bit complex, no? So two matrices can be multiplied only if the number of columns of the first matrix is equal to the number of rows. Take note, ha? We can multiply two matrices if the number of columns of the first matrix is equal to the number of rows of the second matrix. Okay? Such matrices are said to be conformable. Conformable for multiplication. So again, we can only multiply two matrices if they are conformable. Conformability means that the number of columns of your first matrix, is equal to the number of rows of the second matrix. Okay? So let's have an example. This is my matrix A. What is the size of matrix A? 3 by 2. 3 rows and 2 columns. Matrix B is 2 by 2. Okay? 2 rows and 2 columns. Okay. Now, can we multiply these two matrices? So let us check if the two matrices are conformable. Okay. So let's say A times B. A times B. Can we multiply these two matrices? So let's check if they're conformable. Unsa ng conformability? The number of columns of the first matrix, mo man ni ang number of columns sa first matrix, ha, must be equal to the number of rows of the second matrix. What's the number of rows of the second matrix? Is 1. 2 rows, no? Are they equal? Yes, they are equal. So that means they are conformable. So meaning I can multiply these two matrices. Okay? Now, how about akong balihon? B times A. Can we multiply these two matrices? Yes or no? Woo-hoo.
No, sir.
No?
No, sir.
No.
Kana ding 2 times 3, na 3 times 2. Or x times y times x. Ha? Okay, so ang rule niya sa matrix operations for multiplication is different, no, from the algebraic operations. Okay, so naani sa corresponding rule, ha? Ang rule ani niya is kinahanglan ang duha ka matrices must be conformable. Ang number sa column sa first matrix must be equal to the number of rows of the second matrix. Suppose we have B times A, so ang first matrix na to is matrix B. Kung sa may number of columns ano niya, it's 2, right? Now, dire, ang A na to, number of rows, 3. Now, they are not equal naman. No? So that means we cannot multiply these two matrices. Okay? So, kindly take note of this, ha? You can only multiply two matrices if they are conformable. That is, the number of columns, the first matrix should be equal to the number of rows of the second matrix. So, na-solve na tayo na. Okay? Ang conformability issue. Ang next na side nato is what should be the size of the resulting matrix. Unlike for addition and subtraction, kinahanglan naman ang resulta nga size niya is pareho raman, di ba? Kung unsa ang size sa duha ka matrices, no? Okay? Karon ang problema nato kung unsa man ang size sa duha sa resulting matrix if we multiply the two matrices which are conformable, no? Okay, the product of these matrices is defined because of matrix A of the sequence AB has 2 columns and the second matrix B has 2 rows. No? Okay, so let me just explain this one. No? Okay, so ningon man ta nga matrix A and B is conformable, correct? Okay, so that means the number of columns here is equal to the number of rows of the second matrix. Okay, so 2 and 2 are equal. Now, what is the size of the resulting matrix? Let us say the resulting matrix is matrix C. What should be the size of matrix C? Okay, the size of the matrix C should be equal to, kaning nabilin, the number of rows of the first matrix and the number of columns of the second matrix. So meaning, the size of the resulting matrix is 3 by 2. Okay? So 3 rows and 2 columns. O, mo na ang atong resulting matrix. 3 by 2. Okay? So kung unsay nabilin, mo na ang size sa imong resulting matrix. So na-solve na nato, no? Ikaduha pa lang ng problema. Kung mag-multiply ta og duha ka matrices. Ang first, na-solve na nato is kinahanglan conformable siya. Ikaduha is na-solve na nato. Ang next problem is what sa may size sa atong resulting matrix. Solve na sa nato kaning nabilin. Ikatulo na atong problema which is the most important one is how to determine the elements of the resulting matrix. Okay, so for example, you multiply matrix A no matrix B. Okay, it is conformable. So, meaning we can multiply these two. Ang resulting size niya, it should be 3 by 2. Problem is how to get the elements, okay, the values of the elements of the resulting matrix. Okay, so let's try that one, no? Ano siya? Conformable. When two conformable matrices are multiplied, the product matrix that's obtained as the number of rows of the first matrix and the number of columns of the second matrix. Mo ni siya, ha? So, equal man siya, we can multiply. Ang resulta niya, ang nabilin mo na ang size ay mong resulting matrix. Okay. So, again, the problem is how to get the elements. So, kaniya, this is our matrix A. Sorry. This is our matrix A. And this is our matrix B. The size of this matrix is 3 by 2. This one is 2 by 2, no? 3 rows, 2 columns. So, we can multiply this because they are conformable. Pareho siya o number of columns of the first matrix and number of rows of the second matrix. The resulting matrix kaning nabilin ang size, no? 3 by 2. Okay? Ano yung size niya? 3 by 2. Now, how to get the values of these elements? Okay, so let's say kanin siya A, B, C, D, E, F, no? So there are 6 elements. Now how to get the value of A? That's the element of the first row and first column. So imong buhato na is you consider the first row of the first matrix and first column, no, of the second matrix. Kanang A is paano na siya? First row, first column. So it should be 1 times 6 plus 8 times negative 1. So, mo na ang resulta nako sa A. So, which is equal to negative 2. Mo nang 2, no? Mo nang 2. No? Let's say, ngari ko, kaning D. Okay? Ang D is located second row, second column. So, it should be second row. Kani siya, second row, second column po ko. So, it should be 4 times negative 7. Okay? Plus negative 2 times 2, no? What is the result? This is now negative 28 minus 4, that should be negative 32. So that's how to get this one, no? Okay, another example, kani. This is element E, no? E is located on the third row, first column. So it should be the third row, first column. Okay, kung asang location niya, no? So it should be negative 5 times 6, then plus 3 times negative 1, no? 3 times negative 1. So the result, this is negative 30 minus 3, that's negative 33. So that is how to get the values, no, of the elements of the resulting matrix. Okay. I understand, no, na tayo mga computers karon, no, you can easily perform matrix operation by using or even our calculators, no, so it can perform just different matrix operations, no, multiplication and even inversion. So, but I still strongly suggest, no, that you should learn, no, the basics, no? So at least kibaw ka how to. So sa atong exam, so assignments naman ta. So mao na makagamit yapon gid mo calculator, no? Okay, so tindi na lang na ninyo, no? Do you have questions or clarifications so far regarding the matrix multiplication? None?
None, sir.
Ito for sir.
Okay, so I think we have to stop na kay hapit na sad ang time, no? So hapit na mo kuha na sad, less than 5 minutes na lang ang nabilin sa atong kuhan, 6 minutes na lang, no? Remaining time, mo stop na sa di ang sayan aning Zoom. So anyway, so next meeting na lang nato i-discuss ang matrix inversion. So sa karon, what we have discussed for the different matrix operations are the addition, subtraction, and also the matrix multiplication. Okay? So I will post this in the canvas, no? So para ma-review ninyo. Then maybe we have to entertain questions next meeting. So maybe Wednesday next week. Okay, so let's call it a day. So thank you very much for joining us, no? So in these discussions. So,
Thank you, sir.
daghang
Thank you,
salamat
sir.
and see you all next meeting. I'm Buntag.
Yes, sir. God bless.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, good afternoon. Good morning, sir.